Morning everyone, it's Jan, Not a Real Farm. Yep, we're right back into the snow. Now this is sort of a spring snow. You can tell now that everything's starting to melt, but I won't be doing very much outside. As you can see, the roads are covered in snow. This is the longest winter ever. That doesn't deter the dogs, of course. They're out having a great time. Now, if we had that liner in, we might have been able to scoop up some water. That's coming soon. But I just wanted to kind of give you an update, the things that we're dealing with this morning. So it's going to be stormy, snowy all day, so not much I can do outside, unfortunately. But the plants in the greenhouse are growing glorious. So here's a blue pumpkin that I'm growing, something that is rival to that of a taste of a sweet potato, so I'm really curious to try that. But what I noticed this morning when I came in is we have the male flower that has blossomed. And then we also have the female flower. So unfortunately right now, of course, I don't have any bees to help me out to pollinate that, so we're going to have to do that on our own. So if I'm looking to pollinate, one of the things that I always have laying around is just a small little paintbrush, and I have paintbrushes for different plants so that I'm not cross-pollinating. So for this one, what we're going to do is we're just going to go do this, and we're going to take that pollen right up to the female. And that one is pollinated. So this is something that I had to do last year as well, is go around and hand pollinate until it was warm enough that I could open up the door and let some of the beneficial bugs in. This year, like I said, we're going to be installing just the bees that you saw me in the last few videos ago there. We're going to install those. We're going to get those in and around the greenhouse, and they're going to be helping me do the pollination of some of the just some of the plants. So this guy here is already sort of starting to branch and wanting to sort of seep out over the corner. And that's the whole idea of it. There's a whole other area behind here where I normally store my tools that it can creep out and go behind there and do its thing, and nobody's going to step on it. Last year I found that as people were sort of coming to see the greenhouse, they were stepping on some of my plants. And I think I remember saying that in some of my videos. So this year what I've done is moved some things around so I can make sure that, you know, if anybody sort of comes in the greenhouse, then nothing is going to be stepped on. This year it's going to be kind of quiet here. I don't plan to have very many visitors into the greenhouse. We're going to try and keep it locked down a little bit. But the plants are doing amazing, regardless of the weather outside. So on the other corner of the greenhouse here on the other side, what I've done is I've taken old deer netting, because I didn't want to waste it, moved some plants around, and I have taken the deer netting and basically attached it all the way down to the midpoint of the greenhouse. And the idea behind that is this is where my peas are going to grow. So I've planted way more peas than I normally do. We are going to try and can some this year, and we are going to try and freeze dry some this year. And this gives us an opportunity to put some away. And then that way, you know, I'm also not wasting the deer netting, because this deer netting, like I was showing you in one of my videos, was useless against the deer. It didn't do anything. It didn't help. They were still able to get in and nibble the plants. So I thought, well, this makes great netting for peas. So it's just basically attached at the bottom, and it's down low enough that the peas can sort of reach up and grab onto it, and then they can climb up as need be. So just one more way to sort of recycle and reuse materials that are hanging around that, you know, they're too short to do anything else with, but they're useful for things inside your greenhouse. Now I've gone ahead and somewhat cleaned up the strawberry bed here. You can see that I've been diligently sort of working, trying to clean out a lot of the dead leaves, and I still have a lot of work to do. I always find strawberry beds are just a lot of work. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to actually be transferring these into strawberry bags and hanging them up, as opposed to having them in one of the raised beds here. That way it frees up more space for me to use for other plants. We are going to be adding an additional 2 raised beds in here, but I want to take these strawberries out. There's not that many. I know it looks like a lot, but there's not that much. And I'm going to transfer them to 2 to 3 grow bags, and I'm going to hang them from the ceiling and, you know, grow them that way, so that we can have this bed for growing other things that need a little bit more time than the strawberries. So working away, guys, working away slowly but surely. So that's going to take place in the next couple of days. So this bed is going to be completely empty of strawberries, and then we can use it most likely for the sweet potatoes. We're going to be growing quite a bit of sweet potatoes in here this year. So, and then when we go across to the next bed, finally, it took forever because of the weather, but the beans are actually starting to poke through. And I don't know what it was, but this year the beans took forever. So you can see that it's starting to, right here, it's starting to push through. And let's see, over here you can see that the bean is finally starting to push through. But I think I had these in here for, it's got to be almost a month now before they decided that they wanted to sort of peek through. So finally we got some bean action going on in here, so that's good. And then of course the other side of the bed here, we've got our green onions that have taken off. I think they're a little bit more pronounced now. You can see what's going on. So we've got green onions happening. We've got lettuce. The beets are going to grow a little bit slower, but you can see where they are here. And I'll have to do some thinning, but they are starting to come up. And of course the weeds are coming up too with the warm weather. And then moving over here, we have our horseradish, which is doing amazing. So there's one plant here, and I believe I've got a volunteer plant growing there. So we've got 3 horseradish plants growing in a row. So this year, at least for the big guy, I'm going to be harvesting the root and making horseradish sauce. And you always got to make sure you get the root, because if not, the whole thing just grows right back again the next year. So lots of things going on here, guys. Lots of work happening. I do apologize for the time in between posting videos, but sometimes, you know, you just got to just go for it and get some of the work done before we can show you sort of what's been going on. So finally in here you can start to see some of the plant starts. We've got a couple of green nutmeg melons growing. We've got azuki beans. We've got Cherokee wax beans. We've got rice. We've got Saskatchewan cream watermelon. We've got all kinds of stuff growing now finally. But it has been a terrible spring to get things going. Now some of these I just transplanted, so they're not going to be quite there yet. Let's see what's in this one. Guys, I planted my carrots in a flat. If you're careful with them, carrots will transplant. And it's because I wanted to grow a ton of carrots this year, and because my raised beds aren't going to be able to be used right now, I'm actually putting these in the flat, and then you just scoop them out and put them wherever you want. It does work. I was told a very long time ago that I wasn't able to do that, and of course you know me and the rules. So I actually planted the carrots this way, and it does work. As long as you're careful with the root, they will transplant just fine. Okay, let's see. Here are the potatoes. So the potatoes that I grew from seeds. So they're finally just, I threw a couple of corn seeds in here. These are baby corn. But above that is the potatoes. So you can see how some of them are just starting to pop up from seed. And then this guy is full. So I've got beef steaks. What else do I have in here? We've got French melons. We've got cucumbers. We have lemon cucumbers. We've got all kinds of different things in here. We've also got hot wax peppers. We've got eggplant. We've got cherry tomatoes. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And these big guys back here are actually sunflowers. So they're a mix of sunflowers in here. And once again, in the back, we've got rice. So there's a whole slew of things going on in this one. And then up here, we've got more sunflowers, and we've got babera nuts. You can see those starting to push up. And we've got more cucumbers. Everything is really growing well. And then over here we have a vine peach. So these grow in very long vines, so you gotta have a lot of room for them to spread out, but we have some of those growing. So I'm still growing through the snow, guys. It's been a challenging winter, and one that, you know, just isn't gonna let go. Like I said, last year this time I had temperatures well into the 70s. This is not gonna happen this year. It's gonna be a challenging growing season here. In this one, we've got, so I managed to get Brazilian snow peas. So this is gonna be really cool. I'm really happy to try and see what these taste like. I've heard that they actually taste just like sugar, so we'll see how that goes. We have pepper grass, and we also have pak choi. So the pak choi is coming up amazing. This one down here on the bottom has hulless oats. You can see the oats coming up there, and my apologies, this is pepper grass in here. And then all the way back here that's popping up is what's called a Dutch butter popcorn plant. So they don't get very big, but apparently the corn is amazing. And last but not least, amazing blackberries. So what I've done is, if these guys were outside, obviously the leaves would be falling off of them already, but I had to clean them up. But now that I've cleaned them up, it gives you kind of an opportunity to see, I'm just gonna move up close here, that they are beginning to send out new leaves. They're a beautiful color. The vines look healthy. They are green and red. Now it's thrown up a floricane. So we are going to, I think, have a very successful year with blackberries. All the little things sticking out here are just basically where all the new leaves are going to be coming in. You can see the sun is actually, there is no sun today, so the light is not where it needed to be, but you can see they've started. So they're doing really well in here. I'm very happy with these. Gave them a little fertilizer to kick it off for the year. And they are taking off. They're doing awesome. So I've already tipped these guys, so they're good to go. So let's see what kind of crop we get out of these this year, but it's gonna be good for these guys, I'm thinking. My table is cutting down, so I've been able to move over 4 or 5 trays. So we still have these left to fill. And I've just started actually putting some seed down there. So we're doing it, guys. It's just going slowly but surely, but we're getting it done. So basically all we're gonna be doing is we're gonna give these guys a little bit of water, and away we go for the day. Thanks very much for joining me, guys. If you liked the video, subscribe, thumbs up, or hey, see you soon. Oh, geez, this is something else. Good grief.